Hello and welcome to Channel 17's Town Meeting Television and our live coverage of Town Meeting 2019. I'm your host, Matt Kelly. I'm pleased to be joined this evening at the anchor table with the always insightful and effervescent Diane Meyerhoff. Diane, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Matt. I appreciate it. We're going to have a great night. Lots of live results coming soon, hopefully.
Right.
Polls just closed.
You're right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and just a reminder, if you are joining us, you can always get up-to-the-minute election results on our webpage at ch17.tv. We'd also like to send out a big welcome to all our listeners enjoying our online stream simulcast on our local radio station, 99.3 WBTV, Burlington's low-power, community-powered radio station. Diane, taking a look at some of the races, I know Burlington is one that we're looking at very closely.
We are. We are looking at 4 council seats. These are district seats, so there's 2 wards make up a district these days. This is a fairly new system, so we're all still getting used to it.
Yeah.
But we have hotly contested races in all 4 districts, from what I can tell. 3 incumbents and 1 open seat. So we're going to keep a really close eye on that and see. And we're curious to see how the progressives are going to do in this particular one.
Yeah.
Burlington has a bunch of ballot items. Downtown district has been one that's been hotly contested as well.
Sure.
So that'll be real interesting. And Winooski, going to have a new mayor.
Yeah, lots going on around our district outside of the Queen City.
Yes.
I mean, the Onion City, a new mayor, lots of ballot initiatives that we're watching pretty closely as well, enjoying a property swap, involving a property swap there. I also, we're looking at South Burlington pretty closely as well, with some pretty significant ballot items there as well.
We are. We're looking at some tax changes. We're looking at select board and city council seats. So it's going to be, there's going to be quite a bit of information and results tonight.
Yeah, and just taking a look elsewhere around our region, as we look, we know that in Essex, they've approved their town budget, and we'll have some video from that. Williston, we're watching as well. There's some ballot initiatives, as well as quite an intriguing select board race there as well.
Yes, some musical chairs amongst the select board candidates.
Very good. Well, earlier today at the polls in wards 5 and 6, Aidan White and Jordan Mitchell were out and about asking voters about the Downtown Improvement District and other issues facing voters.
What makes you think voting is important?
Because I think the citizens do decide in a democracy what's going to happen for all of us. So our voices all have to be heard, and this is the way we can do it.
Because my parents are voting, so I figured I might as well try to, I don't know, put my opinion out there.
Oh, it's always important to vote. Even. Come on, Newly. She also thinks so.
Yeah. Oh, I see she's got the sticker.
Because it affects my life, where I live and what I do, how I get where I'm going, what I like about my downtown or don't like about it, what I like about my streets or not.
I think every citizen of every community in this country, this year and next year, needs to make sure that their voice and their values are heard. And therefore, I came out to vote to be a part of this great country.
Do you feel like there's been enough information out there for you to make a well-informed decision this year?
Yes, both candidates came to senior housing and spent a goodly amount of time with us answering questions, saying what their proposals were.
I think they've done a good job getting the information out there. It's just folks don't really look at it until it's right before election time, so you have a lot of information to digest.
They could have done better. They could have informed us more.
How have you been getting information?
Just really reading the paper and on the news. That's about it.
Were there any ballot items or candidate you felt passionate about today?
Yeah, ballot items 3 and 4 I did, but I'm not. That's all I'm going to say about them.
I think it's important in March to think about the school budget and other issues that happen locally. So I like coming out town meeting day.
I felt passionate about those running to represent our ward. I am obviously from the New North End. There are some issues where local decisions and local participation is very, very important. We're a vibrant little community here in the New North End. But greater in terms of the city of Burlington, what I found was very important was how the city and the Church Street management will possibly be changed. And I wanted to make sure that my vote was there.
Yeah, I'd like to see the downtown controlled by us and not some other entity outside of us. That's one. And I'm for the plastic ban. And I don't want the mayor to appoint the planning and zoning heads.
I felt very passionate in opposition to ballot issue number 4. I think I'd like to keep it the way it is. I don't think it should be privatized, and that's what this calls for.
It seems like they're asking too much, the city, but I'm stuck in this city, so nothing I can do about it.
The school budget. I was a teacher. The permits. I think we need to make it easier for people to make improvements on their homes.
The downtown business district improvement, we're excited to see the changes that they're going to do so that the tertiary marketplace has an opportunity to kind of self-govern the needs and be more responsive to the graffiti or whether security or improvements on the street. Predictions? I'm positively encouraged by it. I think it'll be close, but I think in general Burlington wants to support small businesses, and this is a good way of doing that.
After that last presidential election, I will make no predictions, none whatsoever.
And those were exit voices from Wards 4 and Severn. Special thanks to producer Sylvan Zeitlin, Leah Myhawk, and Julia Shannon Grillo, students associated with the BHS Register, the school newspaper, which has also been in the news very much recently.
Yes, it has.
Just a reminder that you can stay with us if you're headed out tonight on your smartphone or your tablet by logging on to our web page, ch17.tv. This is also the site to go to for up-to-the-minute election results on our website.
Yes, yes, and we have a whole page of results for you, very easy to look at, and you'll be able to see that as we go. I'm going to give you a little preview of it right there. You'll get to see these are the city council races in Burlington, East District, Central, South, and North Districts, as well as school board, and also the ballot items will also be up there.
Yep.
So when we have final results for, especially for the districts, because that's 2 wards, so we need to get results from both wards before we can post them. We will be posting those up, and we'll be talking about them throughout the evening as well. So we hope you'll go to that. That is ch17.tv. So we'll be doing that too.
And a reminder, if you're heading out, you can enjoy our online stream as we simulcast with Burlington's low-powered community radio station, 99.3 WBTV, and we welcome all our listeners enjoying our simulcast. Diane, as we take a look around other Chittenden County races, I know we're looking at Winooski very closely. Like you say, longtime Mayor Seth Leonard stepping down.
He is. So we have 2 candidates for mayor. We have Eric Covey and Kathleen Lott, and they both are also city councilors right now. 1 or 2 years between the 2 of them, so fairly new, but a spirited race, I think, for that. And we'll. Winooski will have a new mayor tonight.
And we understand, too, that Ebony Naoni, formerly city council candidate, was in fact campaigning at the polls for a write-in candidacy for the Winooski mayor as well as
city council. Yes, yes. So very interesting, because we do have a city council race there. We have 1 contested race, which is Corey Mack versus Michael Myers. So that's an open seat at the moment, and then I believe there is 1 more seat that is, help me out if I remember correctly, it's a 2-year term, 2 seats. So it's essentially uncontested. James Duncan and Amy Lafayette will have both of those seats. And then there's also ballot items we'll be looking at in Winooski as well.
Lots of ballot items, property tax, the local options tax. In fact, Winooski would be one of the last communities in Chittenden County to incur this local options tax.
In the urban communities, absolutely. All the other urban communities have them.
Yeah, currently there are 13 communities throughout our state that offer this local option tax. We're watching that in South Burlington as well. If South Burlington were to approve it, it would be the first community in Chittenden County and statewide, in fact, that would go to a 2% local options tax.
And interestingly, the city itself only gets 70% of that. And that varies depending on how the tax is set up. But that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the legislature feels about that and how many other cities and towns will then also go to 2%.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting long-term thing to watch.
Well, we are watching a lot of races as well as the ballot questions here at Channel 17. Again, for up-to-the-minute website results, go to our webpage, ch17.tv. Winooski voters went to the polls today, and here's what they had to say about what brought them to the polls.
Hey, I'm Barry, and I'm here at the Winooski Senior Center on Town Meeting Day. It's March 5th, 2019, and as I said, we're in Winooski, and there is a lot happening in Winooski this year. There is a race for mayor. There's some city council seats, and it looks like there's a write-in candidate, actually, for city council and mayor. So in addition to a lot of ballot questions and initiatives about sort of keeping the momentum of growth going in Winooski, and there's the pool issue, there's infrastructure upgrades, and there's more that we'll be hearing about from voters very soon. Thanks for watching.
But I don't know, Winooski's at a really interesting transitional period. I think that we've got great candidates representing, old school, new school, transition, everything in between. So I'm just really excited how strong all the candidates have been this year, and getting fresh faces, young faces out there. So no, expecting a nice high turnout, and excited to see how it goes.
After 87 years, we got to vote.
Okay.
We got to make ourselves heard.
Can we see your sign? Your daddy is running?
My husband's running for city council, so.
Oh. Congratulations.
So, yeah,
that's very
we
exciting.
vote all the time anyways, but this one's a little more special.
I feel lucky to be able to vote.
I don't know. My family's lived in Winooski for multi-generations, so figured it was just a part of my duty,
This is the place to go and make your mark and talk to people who are in positions who can actually do something for you. So.
It's a city that's on the river, and having a place where kids can go and learn how to swim, I think, is imperative. So we'd like to see the pool developed, and we'd like to see Winooski continue to grow and develop.
Certainly the school budget was something that was really important to me. It's such a great school, and being out to support it in any way possible, especially as they serve such a diverse population, and they have so many different challenges that come with that. They need all the support that they can get from us community members.
So I actually didn't know who to vote for mayor until the other day. We actually pulled up the Channel 17 debate, watched it for all 32 minutes.
Well, I'm invested in my mayoral vote, but I also think in the grand scheme of things, this is not what we consider a major election. These are important issues, but every 2 or 4 years we get to rethink our decisions. So
I feel like just the school budget, that's always something. Education is really important to me.
I'm interested in the Abenaki garage because I live down there, so I'm going to go home and look it up. And actually, I didn't know there was going to be a hotel as part of it too, which is an interesting addition to traffic in my part of Winooski.
I do think that the smaller elections sometimes get lost, and that's really unfortunate because especially since we're voting for a new mayor, we're voting for the school budget.
I wanted to vote for Eric Covey. I'm really interested in anybody who's going to save us money. He has a good plan to put in the pool and have the pool make money on its own and have it not be a burden to the taxpayers. That's really important to me.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
No
and
problem.
Tune in at 7 for
Awesome.
our live results show on Channel 17.
Always do. You guys are the best.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
And that was producer Mike Kuzmet with reporter Barry Silver and Channel 17 intern David Rush with that report. We thank them for that. Well, as we turn our attention to the Burlington races, Diane, there's a lot of pros and cons on each of the ballot items.
There is, and we're going to look at the Downtown Improvement District, which is essentially an expansion of the Church Street Marketplace. Pretty significant, actually, expansion.
In fact, it is a Downtown Improvement District that already exists.
Yes.
The Church Street Marketplace would be expanded to that Downtown Improvement District, which runs from the waterfront to Pearl Street, to South Winooski, to Main Street.
Yes, right. So it's a
significant
sizable district.
yes.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about it is there's a governance change. So right now, Church Street Marketplace is part of the city. It's a city department, and they're talking about making a nonprofit that instead would run it. And this has been a lot of discussion about, are we giving up? Is the city giving up something that has been held dear to them?
Sure.
One thing I suppose we should mention is that there will be 11 board members, and 6 of them will be appointed by the city. So they still will have a majority of that. There will be 4 residents, 2 nonprofit representatives, and 5 business owners.
Well, and I also think that renters are going to be on that panel too, aren't there? 2 renters, I think?
That's possible.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Okay, great. Well, Adam Roof, City Council member from Ward 8, has shepherded this proposal for the last 2 years and is very passionate about it, as you might expect. Gene Bergman and Larry Luuk were opponents of the plan, and they raised their questions in this next video segment.
The new DID would be established as a new 501c6 nonprofit agency and be governed by, as contemplated in this proposal, a 13-member board. The board would be composed of 7 members to be appointed by a vote of the City Council plus the mayor, so it would be 13 of us voting on those during our annual appointment process. Now, this part of the board would include 2 residents, 1 nonprofit fee payer, 2 business representatives, and 2 property owners. Now, 6 members, the remaining 6 members of the 13-member board, will be selected amongst the fee payers to include 1 resident, 2 business representatives, and 3 property owner fee payers. In addition to this 13-member board, there would be non-voting ex officio members. There'll be 3 of them, 1 from the Department of Public Works, 1 from our Parks Department, 1 from the Burlington Police Department, and as well the City Council. So I misspoke. There would be 4 additional people at the table for continuity and context, but they would not be voting members.
So does this supersede the Church Street Marketplace?
So the Church Street Marketplace Commission would dissolve.
Okay.
And the new governing board would oversee the administration of, again, non-government services to the entire district. Right now, the only real core government service that the Church Street Marketplace District provides is that permitting of public space. And again, we would be, as a city, maintaining that as an authority. But besides that, a lot of what they do is promote the downtown, promote Church Street. They work on more frequent trash removal, more frequent snow removal, all the beautiful lighting that we see down there, maintaining all those enhanced infrastructure aspects. Those are the jobs that the Marketplace Department does now, and that this entity would continue to do, but only throughout the entire district.
Was there any questions that said there's a problem with public governance?
No.
Is there anything that indicated that people thought that we needed to have a private entity be in charge of this and take the tax dollars?
No, and in fact, another document that I've looked at is there's a memo from the mayor's office which outlined in December the proposal in some detail for creating the Downtown Improvement District. And part of the memo is a 1.5-page long list that divides up what the authority of the city would be and what the authority of the proposed improvement district would be. And I went through that list and I marked up every single entry on the list under the city's proposed authority of 13 bullets. All but 5 of them were things that the city already does and would do anyway. And of the things that the downtown entity, the new entity, would perform, what it would have authority to do, there were 5 things that the Church Street Marketplace District already does and does reasonably well, and nobody's established why they're not doing it and given a convincing argument. And then the other bullets are mostly things that the city can and does do already. So, to me, this list of proposed powers and authorities begs the question of, why is a new entity even needed if the current regime of the city plus the Downtown Marketplace District services is already getting the job done? If the question is really scope in terms of the geography of which businesses have to pay assessments and get services, that's a different question than what kind of entity is best positioned to provide those services.
Some wonderful follow-up there on the Downtown Improvement District from a Channel 17 candidate forum. Well, our phones are ringing and the results are coming in. We are fast and furiously tabulating as we speak. And Diane, we have some unofficial results, as I understand.
We do in Winooski, and it looks like Christine Lott is the winner in Winooski with 650 votes over Eric Covey for mayor in Winooski.
Wow.
We also have for councilor, it looks like Michael Myers has won over Corey Mack. And the other two, James Duncan and Amy Lafayette, who were essentially not contested. So that's some results. We also have some Burlington results coming in. Again, these are unofficial.
Right.
And we do not have both wards that make up a district. So this is only half is what we're getting. This is in Ward 3. And it looks like Perry Freeman will win over Jane Nodell in Ward 3. And Jared Carter comes in quite far behind. Again, in Ward 3, that's only half of the central district.
Okay.
And one more, Ward 7, that's the new North End. That's part of the North District. So Wards 4 and 7, this is just 7. It looks like Franklin Paulino wins over Keenan Christensen, and that's a fairly close number, closer than I would have thought, honestly.
Wow.
So stay tuned, because the phones, I can hear them ringing, so more is coming.
Great. As we turn our attention to Ward 6, we have some unofficial results as well, with Joan Shannon winning the district over challenger Mohammed Jafar and Paco DeFrancis, and Jeff Wick winning school district school commissioner, returning back to the school board. He was unchallenged there. We have some unofficial results for some of the ballot questions from Ward 6 as well. It looks like the school budget does pass in Ward 6 pretty significantly. Increase in the minimum tax rate also is victorious in Ward 6 at this time. Question number 3, the proposed charter change regarding the Department of Permitting and Zoning looks to have passed significantly by at least a 2-to-1 margin in Ward 6. Question number 4, the proposed charter change regarding the DID, the Downtown Improvement District, also passing in Ward 6, 564 votes to 383, and the charter change to eliminate the business personal property tax also passing in Ward 6, and the advisory question, a huge response, 826 to 128 in Ward 6. That's got to be a wonderful referendum for Joan Shannon in
and
that
that's
district.
for the plastics ban.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, just a reminder that, again, we are getting results fast and furious, and you can go to our website, ch17.tv, to get complete and up-to-the-minute election results. As we head on over to Winooski, some of the things, again, that we are looking to find out about is the election results. We do know that
Christine Lott is the winner.
Has won the mayorship in Winooski. This is an unofficial tally at this moment. Once we get the official results, we'll pass those along to you as well. And right now, let's just go and hear from Winooski candidates Eric Covey and Christine Lott.
So I was absolutely in support of moving non-citizen voting forward and putting it on the ballot for Winooski voters to consider, because ultimately it's a multi-step process. First, voters would need to approve it, and that's after the process by which it gets onto the ballot. Once Winooski voters approve it, it would go to the legislature, and then the legislature would ultimately be able to decide whether or not they approve our charter change that we send to them. In the discussions we were having as a council, when it came, there were a group of 3 of us, myself and Christine included, that were in support of moving it forward up until the final vote to actually put it to voters, so that Winooski voters could, one way or another, whether they're in support or not, could decide whether or not to send that charter change to the legislature. And on that final vote, it was actually just myself and Representative Colston, who we just heard from, that supported moving it forward. I think that that's really unfortunate. Montpelier did move forward and pass it on the ballot that they had in front of voters in November, so they're in the legislature. And as the most diverse community in Vermont, I do feel a little bit ashamed that as a city we weren't there with them.
Okay. Christine, we're talking about non-citizen voting and putting it on the ballot in a future town meeting day.
Sure, and just to make a quick point of clarification for folks watching at home, this refers to allowing all residents of the city, regardless of citizenship status, to vote on municipal local issues, not anything at the state or federal level. As Eric mentioned, I have supported this expansion of voting, of having more voices at the table. When we came to the point of deciding whether or not to put it on the ballot, what we discovered is that we had not done our due diligence. We had not engaged the stakeholders who would be impacted. We didn't speak with new Americans. We didn't speak with nearly enough people in the community to find out what what supports will they need? What concerns do they have? I go back to my point about public process being the most important part of this role. that we need to do this right and make sure that decisions are happening with people, and we are not doing them to them. As someone sitting on the council making that decision, I felt like it was something I was doing to these people without actually engaging them, and that's not something I want to be a part of. I absolutely support fostering the committee that we have established to carry that forward. So there's a resident-driven committee spending the time to do the thorough investigation of what needs are going to arise, and doing that outreach to make sure we're engaging all of our communities, all of our community members, and really understanding how we can implement this in the future.
Welcome back here at Channel 17 in our live election night coverage for Town Meeting 2019. I'm Matt Kelly, joined by Diane Meyerhoff. Diane, we are getting results fast and furious.
We are, and we do have results for the Central District. That's Wards 2 and 3. And it looks like Perry Freeman has won with about 928 votes to Jane Nodell's 643. Again, that's the Central District. Perry Freeman, the progressive candidate, wins in the Central District Wards 2 and 3.
This was a big defeat for Jane Nodell. It was her race to win or lose. Perry Freeman emerging victorious and will go to the City Council. We also have election results here for Ward 4 and Ward 7. Franklin Paulino emerging victorious. Let's see, Ward 4, 808 to 605 for Keenan Christensen. And in Ward 7, 559 to 530. Again, Franklin Paulino emerging victorious in his effort to succeed Dave Hartnett for the Burlington City Council and the North District.
And we should say that Dave Hartnett was a Democrat and he's being replaced by a Democrat, so there won't be a change there. And actually, in the Central District, it's the same thing, although the candidate is different, right?
Yeah.
But Jane Nodell, the progressive, will be replaced by Perry Freeman, the progressive. So far, things have stayed the same in the overall,
We also have unofficial results for Ward 6 at this time. Joan Shannon leading Mohammed Jafar, 626 to 257 votes. Jeff Wick returning to the school board, he was unopposed. A reminder, as we get completed election results, we'll have them here for you. You can always go to our website, ch17.tv, to get the complete election results.
And I'm just going to say we have looks like pretty final results for the Central District, and it looks like we already mentioned that Jane Nodell loses that race. Perry Freeman wins by 928 votes to Jane Nodell's 643, and Jared Carter, who is the Democrat, came in with 144 votes.
Wow. Okay. Well, as we head on to look at other areas in our viewing area, in South Burlington, one contested city council race between first-term incumbent Tim Barrett and Frank Davis and Dave Kaufman were all together in a candidate forum. Okay, great. We don't have that.
You know, on the 1% options, the city has been in desperate need for a long period of time of indoor recreation facilities. Recreation is one of those things that the city is charged with providing. We've got a recreation department, and yet for years they've had no way to program indoor recreation in the inclement weather in the winter. And the schools are totally tapped out with school programs. And so, you know, we started with an idea that we would build an indoor facility that would be a few $1,000,000. And now we're at 12 to 15 million at Veterans Memorial Park, adjacent to the Cairns Arenas, which the preliminary design is really exciting. But we have to pay for it. And then there's an arts group that would like city involvement in one way or another in a new art center, which also has excellent merit. It would make South Burlington a magnet for people from outside the city and bring money into the city. And then you've seen mention of a bridge over the interstate to enable pedestrians and bicyclists to get across that miserable wide stretch of the interstate between the campus and where our new city center is. My feeling is that those funds will come predominantly from a mix of federal, state, and some local funds. I'm not sure what ballot item is going to be relevant to them. The biggest thing is our rec facility, and we need to know what the residents think before we can go forward with that. So my position on it is I hate taxes, but we do want a recreation facility. This is one way to do it. Let's see what our residents have to say.
And so this is our opportunity to say, we think there is this list of projects we would like to do, and in order to get the money for that, we would like to present it to the voter. You know, would you feel okay coming to South Burlington, or if you live there, spending an extra 1%, you know, for your restaurant meal. And actually, that would make it equal to Burlington's meals tax, to be quite honest. So people have been eating in South Burlington getting a 1% break, wow, on their tax, right? So that would make it equalized, but it would bring us to an 8% sales tax, which would be, I believe, would be the first in the state. So one of my concerns is that and this is a long process, right? Because first of all, the public has to vote on it, and then it has to go to the legislature and be approved by both the House and the Senate, and then go to Governor Scott. And I did contact the governor's office and ask, is this something that you would okay or sign? Because, I mean, a while back he was all about affordability, right? And then they responded and said, this is the type of thing that he prefers to leave up to the communities. So I'm assuming that he would sign that if it got that far. And then it comes back, like Helen said earlier, that then we'd have to get approval from the public on those distinct projects for which this money was to be spent. So that voters get two chances to vote on this, right? And then when it comes time to actually raise the money, we could pick and choose as City Council which tax we want to raise, right? Is it the 1% rooms and meals only, or just the 1% sales tax? And play with it so we could meet whatever the cost is. So I support going to the voters for that, because I think it represents the type of investment that we want to make long-term for the city. Indoor rec is really badly needed, and we had several people tell us at the meetings that it's a facility that could be utilized by people not just in South Burlington, but by other groups as well, and they would be willing to pay for that time.
And that video piece was courtesy of a Channel 17 candidate forum here. For live election results, tune into our website, ch17.tv. Diane, I understand we have quite an upset.
We do have an upset to talk about. We have in the Central District, that's wards 2 and 3, Perry Freeman wins over Jane Nodell 54% to 37%, with Jared Carter 8%.
Mm-hmm. As we take a look at the South District, Joan Shannon looks to be emerging victorious in her attempt to return to the City Council over, candidates Mohammed Jafar and Paco de Francis. And in the North District, a Democrat returns to the City Council as Franklin Paulino emerges victorious over Keenan Christensen, independent, with some progressive support.
And we just have, we now have the East District in. We were waiting for Ward 8 results, and it looks like we have those in, and I will get down there. This is the East District, which is wards 1 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's Jack Hansen against Richard Dean.
And it looks like Jack Hansen, the progressive, wins 61% to Richard Dean, the incumbent's 39%.
Wow.
Another upset.
Wow.
Yes.
Exciting.
Very
news.
interesting.
Well,
okay.
In Studio B, we have Julia Valero talking with a new school board commissioner, Kendra Sowers.
Welcome, Kendra. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're now the school commissioner.
I am.
How do you feel?
I am. I'm delighted to be part of the school board and helping our schools be excellent in this community. So, yeah.
Great. Are there any big things on your agenda to start off?
Yeah, well, I ran on a platform of excellence, affordability, and transparency. And I think the current school board has done such an awesome job right now. They've set up a committee of community engagement with all of the stakeholders, and I'd love to continue to do that, have open, respectful dialogue with the constituents. I really want to have excellence continue in our schools, because with awesome schools, you have a thriving community. And so really meeting every child where they're at in the district is important to me. Closing the achievement gap is a big one. I also want to focus on some legislative reforms. I would love to look at the state moratorium on aid for school construction, because that has been over 10 years, and I think that Burlington it could be a big windfall if we could get some money for our new high school, the bond that just passed, and that would be great for the rest of the Vermont districts who are trying to build new schools. So I also am big on fiscal responsibility. We have to answer to our taxpayers. We have to continue to be able to live in this great city. So that's always the big challenge. We have a lot of resource needs in Burlington, and we have to balance those with what people can pay. So I'm really excited, and I do want to thank the voters for coming out today to vote. It's important, and thank you for allowing me to be on this position.
Yeah, you're welcome, and it sounds like you have a lot of support already, so you're going to hit the ground running.
Thanks, I'm looking forward to it.
That's Kendra Sowers going to the Burlington School Board. She's taking the position that Mark Barlow vacated when he stepped aside for this election season. A reminder, visit our website, ch17.tv, for complete election results. And Diane, I understand we have another upset.
We do. We have a couple of upsets, actually. So we have in the East District, that's wards 1 and 8. Incumbent Richard Dean, the Democrat, has lost to Jack Hansen, the Progressive. The Progressive won by 61% to 39%. That's a big margin.
Sure. This is a big pickup for the Progressives, for sure.
That's a big pickup for the Progressives, absolutely.
Yep.
The other upset, I think to some extent, is the Central District. Again, that's wards 2 and 3.
Sure.
Incumbent Jane Nodell loses to Perry Freeman, 37% to 54%. A small amount for Jared Carter. As expected, Joan Shannon won in the South District by quite a large margin. And in the North District, Franklin Paulino, the Democrat, who was supported by the Democrat
and the
Republican Kurt Wright,
Right.
Wins by 53%.
So as we look at our city council races, it's sort of a mixed result for the Progressives. They pick up 2 seats. In fact, they win 2 races, if we could say that.
Exactly, because they still had the Central District was still progressive, so that hasn't actually changed in terms of the overall, right? And the Dems lost 1, and the Progs won. So we've got 4 Dems, 4 progressives, 3 independents, and 1 Republican at the moment. So.
Well, it will be interesting to see in the days, weeks, and months ahead how that board will work together, and we're really excited to be heading over to Studio B with a special guest joining Lauren Glenn Davidian.
In a few minutes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so again, we will say in the districts, we've got the East District, Jack Hansen winning over the incumbent Richard Dean. Central District, Jane Nodell loses to Perry Freeman, the Progressive. South District, Joan Shannon wins really by a landslide, I would say, over both a Progressive and Independent challengers. And in the North District, again, that's Ward 4 and 7, New North End, we have a Democrat winning by 53%, Franklin Paulino. So that seat stays Democrat. Because Dave Hartnett backed out of that race. So we've got Franklin Paulino, the Democrat in the North Districts, Ward 4 and 7.
Very good. Well, we are ready to go to Studio B with Lauren Glenn Davidian and a very special guest. LG?
Hi there. Thanks so much, Matt. Joan Shannon, congratulations on your victory.
Thank you so much, Lauren Glenn.
In Ward 5, you're probably pretty tired. You've been out there all day.
I have been out there all day, although I snuck away twice. I got 2 breaks during the day, and we had a nice day for it. I've been out there in far worse weather than today, but you know, it's always fun to be out there and actually get to talk to people, and a lot of people are interested in talking about the issues when you're standing at the polls, and so it's a fun day.
So do you know what the ballot question results are?
I know that I think everything passed in Ward 5. Question 4 passed by 12 votes, so that's very close. In Ward 6, I believe everything passed, and question 4, which I think is the question that we were the most uncertain of its passage.
Which is?
Question 4 is about the Downtown Improvement District. It won by quite a bit more in Ward 6 than it did in Ward 5.
So were you surprised that Jane Nodell was defeated?
I was shocked, quite honestly. I was quite surprised. I mean, Jane has been on the city council for a very long time, and I thought that she had a pretty loyal following in the old North End, but I guess that you know, Perry must have done a very good job campaigning. I was really focused on my own campaign, so I maybe didn't have a good sense of that one, but I was surprised.
And you were running against a progressive, and that was an interesting race for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I was running against a progressive and the former chair of the Republican Party, but it was. I'd say it was pretty similar to other races I've had in a lot of ways. The issues, you know, the issues don't change that much, and positions don't change that much, really. So, I ran kind of the same campaign I have run.
And what are you hoping to achieve in this next term as the South District City Councilor for Burlington?
Well, one thing, it was my initiative on the plastic bags that I put that question on the ballot, and from what I can see so far, it looks like that is strongly endorsed by the voters, and we really needed that because I had tried a few years ago to get a plastic bag ban, and I got a lot of pushback from the independent grocers who said, no, our customers really need these bags. They're essential. And I really wanted to be able to show them that their customers are behind this. So I don't know the final results on that, but my sense is that Burlington has, strongly endorsed reducing single-use plastics, and I look forward to working on that issue in a variety of ways. I think we have a lot of things coming, big issues. We have Memorial Auditorium and Moran that are coming down the pike. We have ongoing infrastructure challenges. I mean, the thing I heard most at the doors is, of course, the potholes, and I think that's usually the issue we hear in March. March is a terrible time for city streets, but people are stressed about that, and so we'll continue to focus on finances, infrastructure, and what comes next with Memorial Auditorium, and hopefully finally doing something with the Moran. Maybe the Southern Connector will come through in between now and the next time I'm up for re-election.
What about the big hole in the middle of the city?
I have a lot of confidence that 2 years from now we won't have a big hole in the middle of the city. It's a project that isn't, people have to understand that it is a private development. It isn't the city's project. It did hit a hurdle, but a project of that size, I think you have to expect a couple hurdles along the way. And I'm not going to say that the one we just experienced is going to be the last hurdle, but I do have confidence that this project is going to move forward. We always need to look at the worst case scenario. I always say that's my job, is look at everything that could go wrong. And I think that, the worst case scenario is that, maybe this developer can't do this project and it gets sold to somebody else. Maybe they'll build something smaller. It's going to be okay. We did not tear down the heart of our downtown. We tore down the mall, which was a fortress and an obstacle in our downtown. And I'm really glad that's gone. The site is more valuable now than it has ever been. And I look forward to it getting developed in the next 2 years.
Well, Joan Shannon, congratulations. Our re-elected city councilor from the South District of Burlington. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Lauren Glenn.
Well, congratulations to Councillor Shannon on her victory and her return to the Burlington City Council. We do want to also congratulate candidate Mohammed Jafar and Paco de Francis for their candidacy. We thank them very much and congratulate them on excellent races, and we look forward to hearing from them in the future for sure.
We do, absolutely.
Well, we have some updated election results, yes. Diane.
So we're going to recap the candidates as well as the ballot items in Burlington. All the information is now in. So as you just mentioned, South District, Joan Shannon wins quite by a landslide, really, in the South District. That is wards, oh my gosh, I just lost track, 5 and 7. 5 and 7. Sorry, no, that's 5 and 6. Sorry. Ooh, okay. We'll go to the East District. An upset in the East District. We have Richard Dean, the incumbent, loses to Jack Hansen, the progressive, by actually quite a bit. Central District, Perry Freeman wins over incumbent Jane Nodell, 54% to 37. And in the North District, we have a Democrat returning. Dave Hartnett has vacated that seat. Franklin Paulino wins over Keenan Christensen and Erica Bundy Reddit. School Board, we've got Kathleen Allwell in the East District, Gene Waltz in the Central District, Jeff Wick in the South District.
All unopposed, returning to the school board.
And Kendra Sowers in the North District, who we met earlier. I'm going to run through the ballot items as well, because we have that information in now. We have Article 1, that's the school budget, won by 69%. Number 2, the tax rate. This is the municipal tax rate, and that won by 59%. The charter change around the splitting up of the permitting versus the planning and appointment of the zoning administrator and the planning director, yes, won by 60%. Wow, 60 to 40, yeah. Article 4, the charter change. This is the downtown development improvement district, sorry. Interestingly, this one went down. No, 54% to 46%, which is a bit of a surprise to me, honestly. I hadn't expected that. Eliminate business personal property tax, 64% said yes. And the advisory question that Joan mentioned, Shannon mentioned, the single-use plastic reduction policy, that won by more than any other ballot item by 84%.
Wow.
And we should also say, this is all Burlington results, but I also want to mention that Winooski does have a new mayor.
Right.
And we should make sure we mention Christine Lott is the winner in Winooski for mayor.
And this is the first female mayor for the city as well, isn't it?
Boy, in my recollection, but I don't know beyond that, I don't know.
We'll have to go back into
find
our
that
archives.
out, yes.
As we continue to take a look at some area contests throughout our viewing area, we'll head now to South Burlington, where discussion on the local option tax really brought out voters to the polls and also had a lot of competing viewpoints from those seeking office in South Burlington.
Ballot questions are interesting. You know, on the 1% options, the city has been in desperate need for a long period of time of indoor recreation facilities. Recreation is one of those things that the city is charged with providing. We've got a recreation department, and yet for years they've had no way to program indoor recreation in the inclement weather in the winter. And the schools are totally tapped out with school programs. And so, you know, we started with an idea that we would build an indoor facility that would be a few $1,000,000, and now we're at 12 to 15 million at Veterans Memorial Park, adjacent to the Cairns Arenas, which the preliminary design is really exciting, but we have to pay for it. And then there's an arts group that would like city involvement in one way or another in a new art center, which also has excellent merit. It would make South Burlington a magnet for people from outside the city and bring money into the city. And then you've seen mention of a bridge over the interstate to enable pedestrians and bicyclists to get across that miserable wide stretch of the interstate between the campus and where our new city center is. My feeling is that those funds will come predominantly from a mix of federal, state, and some local funds. I'm not sure what ballot item is going to be relevant to them. The biggest thing is our rec facility, and we need to know what the residents think before we can go forward with that. So my position on it is I hate taxes, but we do want a recreation facility. This is one way to do it. Let's see what our residents have to say.
And so this is our opportunity to say, we think there is this list of projects we would like to do, and in order to get the money for that, we would like to present it to the voter. You know, would you feel okay coming to South Burlington, or if you live there, spending an extra 1%, you know, for your restaurant meal? And actually, that would make it equal to Burlington's meals tax, to be quite honest. So you know, people have been eating in South Burlington getting a 1% break, wow, on their tax, right? So that would make it equalized, but it would bring us to an 8% sales tax, which would be, I believe, would be the first in the state. So one of my concerns is that and this is a long process, right? Because first of all, the public has to vote on it, and then it has to go to the legislature and be approved by both the House and the Senate, and then go to Governor Scott. And I did contact the governor's office and ask, is this something that you would okay or sign? Because, I mean, a while back he was all about affordability, right? And then they responded and said, this is the type of thing that he prefers to leave up to the communities. So I'm assuming that he would sign that if it got that far. And then it comes back, like Helen said earlier, that then we'd have to get approval from the public on those distinct projects for which this money was to be spent. So that voters get two chances to vote on this, right? And then when it comes time to actually raise the money, we could pick and choose as city council which tax we want to raise, right? Is it the 1% rooms and meals only, or just the 1% sales tax? And play with it so we could meet whatever the cost is. So I support going to the voters for that, because I think it represents the type of investment that we want to make long-term for the city. Indoor rec is really badly needed, and we had several people tell us at the meetings that it's a facility that could be utilized by people not just in South Burlington, but by other groups as well, and they would be willing to pay for that time.
To go to our webpage, ch17.tv. Well, in Studio B, we have Lauren Glendavidian, joined by a new Burlington City Councilor.
Thanks so much, Matt. Perry Freeman, congratulations. You've won the Central District of the City of Burlington.
Thank you so much.
In an upset over a long-time incumbent.
Yeah.
So tell me, do you have any words for Jane? Any thoughts in response to the win?
What an amazing campaign that everyone ran for all three candidates. You know, Jane, Jared, and myself. The campaigns were so respectful and very, you know, just
and everyone I think put their best foot forward, and I feel honored to have been in a race with such amazing other candidates.
And I know you're tired. It's been a long campaign. You've worked really hard. There's a lot of organizing. People will say that you out-organized your opponent.
We hit an incredible amount of doors. We talked to as many people as possible. Yeah, I'm guessing. I don't know. I mean, I only know what our team did, but it's probably, yeah, I'm guessing a big factor.
And what do you hope to achieve? What are your priorities?
Yeah, just coming back to that climate action, affordability, and making sure that City Hall is open and transparent to the public as possible. You know, my vision and desire is to bring more people in, not less. And so, you know, we can look at some of those deep policies around weatherization and revolutionizing our transportation system and getting to a livable wage and making sure that we're having true accountability with our housing sector, that renters are taken care of, that you know, we have enough public funding for housing, and then you know, I'm so excited to like dig into the NPAs as a structure and think about participatory budgeting and direct democracy. And so much of the work that I was doing at just knocking on doors and talking to people and bringing them in and making sure, you know, their voices are being heard. And because we had such a strong team of organizers and really people who want to actively do that work, I'm excited to see that work continue as like sort of a movement and building that intergenerational momentum to really bring things to make this change that we want to see.
Well, I want to thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And have a nice party tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you so much to all the people who just worked on the campaign and volunteers and people were, you know, it was incredible across the districts. Thank you.
Perry Freeman, the new city councilor for the Central District in the city of Burlington. Back to you, Matt.
Thank you.
Councilor Freeman. Has a certain ring to it, doesn't it? Congratulations to Perry Freeman. We'd also like to extend our warmest thanks to Councilor Nodell for her near 20 years service to our city, and to Jared Carter for mounting an excellent, challenging campaign. We expect to hear more from him in the days, weeks, and months ahead. Diana, let's do a quick recap of races that we know results at this time.
Yeah, and we've got all our Burlington results in. So we've got obviously the Central District. You just heard from Perry Freeman, who is the winner in Wards 2 and 3. That's the Central District. North District, that's Wards 4 and 7. Franklin Paulino, the Democrat, wins. Again, that replaces another Democrat. East District, upset. Jack Hansen, the Progressive, wins over Richard Dean, who is the Democrat incumbent. That's Ward 1 and 8. South District, we also heard from Joan Shannon, incumbent who returns. That's Wards 5 and 6, the South District. Ballot items in Burlington. We have the school budget passed by quite a bit. The city tax rate increase also passed by less than the school budget, but still pretty high percentage. The charter change around the permitting and inspection and taking them away from the planning department and making the planning director and the zoning administrator appointed by the mayor passes by 60%. The downtown improvement district goes down by quite a bit. I think this is a surprise.
That's a little bit of a surprise for
sure. So that goes down by 54%. The elimination or phasing out of the business personal property tax passes by quite a bit. And finally, the advisory question, this is on the single-use plastics that Joan Shannon championed, wins by 84%. So that's the most of any of them, that the highest amount. And the only item actually that went down is the
Downtown Improvement District.
Yeah.
Bit of a surprise on that.
I thought so too. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised. But there was challenges mounted on both sides. There was mailers and signs out quite a bit. So
even though the mayor was pretty active in supporting that as well as all the ballot initiatives.
The question is it a referendum on the mayor?
Yeah,
that's the question. We'll find out. I also want to mention too, this was all Burlington results, but the city of Winooski has a new mayor.
Yay.
Yes, Christine Lott is, I guess, at the moment, mayor of the city of Winooski. And we are waiting on results from the other cities at this point.
Wonderful. You know, as we just do a little bit of analysis here, it's a good night for the progressives, it looks like.
It is. It is a good night. So they've picked up a seat in the East District.
Sure.
and they've, I guess we should say, maintained a seat in the Central District.
But that's a pretty big pickup for them to defeat longtime incumbent Jane Nodell with a relatively newcomer to the city. But as we learned in the interview with Lauren Glenn Davidian, that Perry Freeman was very active in door-to-door campaigning, and we really think that that's what helped put her over the top.
There was a lot of energy in that campaign, absolutely, and I think there were also a lot of new voters. It'll be interesting to learn more about who the supporters were and sort of where they came from in the wards.
Wonderful. Well, time now to head over to Studio B for another interview. We're really excited to have Lauren Glenn speaking with two current City Council members.
Thank you so much. Ali Jang, from City Councilor from Ward 7, and Max Tracy, City Councilor from Ward 2. Thanks so much for joining us. This is a big night for progressives in Burlington, Vermont, isn't it, Max?
Yeah, absolutely. This is huge. I mean, to have two big wins here in the North End with the Central District and then Jack Hansen up in the East District, and both of them not only just winning, but winning handily, is incredibly exciting. We had a really interesting situation happen in our party this time around with 4 young, fresh candidates who were bringing an optimistic message, but also one of serious focus around crucial issues like climate change. And these are people who are, the future of our city, stepping up to the plate and leading and organizing phenomenal campaigns and being rewarded with big wins tonight. So I couldn't be more excited for them. What I would like to say also, though, is that, I do appreciate the service of both councilors, Nodell and Dean, and also Hartnett, who are all stepping away from the council. But I do want to emphasize, councilors Dean and Nodell, I just appreciate their service and just want to thank them for what they've done for the city of Burlington.
So, Ali, what accounts for this success? Tell us a little bit about the secret of the organizing that happened.
Yes, so I would have, really see more great wins for younger people and also for the city, new voices, new blood. But the voters of Burlington have spoken, and we have to respect that. And I want to echo Max by saying that both Dean and Councilor Nodell, thank you for that service, and also that I hope that they won't stay away, that they will be able to stay engaged in the work that we need to do to advance our city to be the best that it can be.
So what are the priorities of the Progressive Party, Progressive City Councilors going forward now with this? As many progressives as Dems on the City Council? Is that what the makeup is?
I think now we are about kind of even, 5 to 5, 6 to 5, or if we take into account a Republican and also independent, I feel like it is now even and balanced. And what I would want to see forward is basically it's a win for the progressive because they're bringing now new, young voices who are young and whose perspective are really needed to make sure that, the city strive.
Are you, how do you feel about the Downtown Improvement District not passing?
I'm elated. I opposed it at committee. I opposed it on the council floor. I tried to take it off of the ballot because I didn't think it was ready, and it's incredibly validating to see the voters come out against it. I think that this was a poorly thought out, rushed ballot measure that would have taken what has been a great success in the publicly run marketplace, that's essentially a city department and a city commission, turned it into a privately run nonprofit that I just felt was imbalanced in terms of who was represented and how they were represented. And so I'm incredibly excited that we have that the voters saw that and voted it down. I think it's crucial that we take what they've said to us and really assess that. I thought that in some ways was a referendum on how they see downtown going. I think there's a lot of frustration around City Hall Park and the way that conversation happened. I think there's a tremendous amount of frustration around the big hole we have in the ground in the mall and the failure to really get that project moving. So I look at it as sort of a referendum and one that says that people are very frustrated with the direction that we're trying to take downtown.
About you, Ali?
Yep. So, I think it is important for people to understand also that our downtown cannot just stay as it is. I think the concept of the DID was wonderful and it was welcomed by many people. But it is just like what Max says, it was rushed. It was very rushed, and I think we should not let this die. What I'm thinking about is now what can we do in bringing a proposal that really works for the community in making sure that our downtown stay vibrant and strong.
Well, I want to thank both of you for your service and how hard you've worked and organized. And back to you, we were here with Max Tracy and Ali Jeng, 2 city councilors from Wards 2 and Wards 7. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, LG, and we thank Councilor Jeng and Councilor Tracy for coming in and giving us such expert analysis and insight. Big night for the progressives and the Burlington City Council. Young new voices coming to the fore with Perry Freeman defeating Councilor Jane Nodell in the Central District. We also have Jack Hansen defeating Richard Dean in the East District. In the North District, the Democrat returns to the City Council as Franklin Polino defeats Keenan Christensen. And in the South District, we have Councilor Joan Shannon returning to the City Council, defeating Mohammed Jafar and Paco de Francis. In Winooski, I understand we have results, Diane?
We do. We have results in Winooski. As we've said before, Christine Lott will be the new mayor of Winooski. Councilors will be James Duncan, Amy Lafayette, and Michael Myers. Michael Myers defeated Corey Mack. And in terms of ballot items, all the ballot items in Winooski have been approved. So we'll just quickly, city budget, the Hickok Street bond vote, that's a water wastewater initiative, the Abnaki Garage bond vote, the local option tax. Again, we mentioned before, this is the first time Winooski has had a local option tax, although most of the urban communities in Chittenden County have that tax already. And 2 school items, and both of those passed. So all the bond votes and ballot items in Winooski pass, and Christine Lott will be the new mayor of Winooski.
Exciting news there from the Onion City. Just to recap some Burlington races that we have information for you now. The City Council makeup is changing. Again, Democrat Franklin Polino winning the North District over Keenan Christensen. We have Perry Freeman going to the City Council, defeating longtime incumbent Jane Nodell. Joan Shannon returns to the City Council, defeating Mohammed Jafar and Paco de Francis. And Jack Hansen defeats East District candidate incumbent Richard Dean. Pretty exciting news there. Lots of young voices coming onto the Burlington City Council. We can certainly expect to see a little bit of change there for sure. Also, we have some ballot initiatives that we have some results for, Diane, I understand.
In Burlington? Yes, we do, absolutely. I think the biggest perhaps surprise is the Downtown Improvement District went down by quite a bit. And it's interesting because Max Tracy, the councilor, said that this might be perhaps that it was not well put together and there wasn't quite enough time to communicate what that ballot item was about. And I wonder what the voters were thinking. It'd be interesting to find out more about that. In terms of the other items, I think we said everything else passed, but I will go through them. School budget passed. The municipal tax rate increase also passed. That was a pretty minor one.
Well, what's interesting about that, if we can talk about it a little bit, is that that was championed by Jane Nodell, who was on the commission for that. So this is sort of a mixed ballot result for Jane Nodell. She goes down to defeat against Perry Freeman, but the initiative for the 1.25 cent increase to the municipal tax rate does succeed. So a bit of a mixed result for Councilor Jane Nodell in the Central District. Well, as we head on over to Studio B, we have an exciting guest joining Lauren Glenn Davidian, the new mayor for the city of Winooski.
Christine Lott, congratulations. Thank you very much. So tell us about what contributed to your win as the new Winooski mayor.
Since the new year, I have gone out every single day, knocking on doors, attending events, hosting my own events, and just really spent a ton of time connecting with people, listening, and having that FaceTime. I think that's something that people are craving in Winooski, more outreach from the leadership, more connection. And so I think approaching the campaign that way really succeeded because that's what people want to see for our city.
Are you pretty satisfied with the outcome of the ballot questions that all seem to have passed in the city?
I am. I think that all of those ballot items get us toward the vision of what we've been putting together through community engagement and the planning, the master plan. Sorry, I'm a little nervous from earlier.
And you're tired, I'm
I
sure.
am very tired. Yeah, like all of these ballot items get us to that vision that we've been working towards for the last several years, and particularly you know, we're going to be able to build out the downtown fully at this point with the hotel and the garage. So I am excited that the items made it through and we can continue moving forward with that stuff.
And what are your priorities as mayor?
Community engagement is my #1 priority, and doing more outreach and making sure to engage residents more in the process. You know, I heard a lot of people say they feel left out or left behind. That's something I really want to address. And given the amount of work that we put on our plate at this point, I think that we don't need to be looking for the next project to take on or the next thing to do. I think it's a great opportunity to take a look at the process we use and do better there.
And one of the themes during the campaigns of everyone that ran was keeping the momentum of the work going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've been on this path for several years now as a city, and with these new projects that we're taking on, we continue on that trajectory of seeing Winooski grow and thrive.
And there are going to be some new city councilors, 3 new city councilors. So Trevor Mack did not win. Corey Mack, sorry. Corey Mack was defeated by Mike Myers.
Yes, that's right.
And then Amy Lafayette, and there was one other
Jim Duncan.
Jim Duncan.
Yeah.
There were 2 seats.
Yeah.
So they won those.
All 4 of them were great. I'd be happy to work with any of them, and the outcome is fine with me. I'm looking forward to working with all of them to, you know, move us forward on this path. And I'm looking forward to helping them learn as new members of the council, as I recently was myself.
Yeah, so it's a lot of new blood.
A lot of new blood. Hal and I both joined last year, and the other 3 will be new. Luckily, we have an excellent city manager and staff to lean on, and we'll get a lot of support there.
Well, Christine Lott, congratulations, the mayor of Winooski. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Christine Lott, it has a wonderful sound to it, don't you think? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sure she thinks so as well. Congratulations to Christine, and as well to all the candidates that went up against her. We thank you very much for your willingness to serve the Onion City. Well, taking a look at some of our election results, Diane.
Yes, let's run through. City of Burlington, North District, that is wards 4 and 7, and Franklin Paulino, the Democrat, wins over Keenan Christensen, the Independent/Progressive.
I know this is a big disappointment for the Progressives. I think they were really expecting Keenan to take that district, but I'm sure that we have not heard the last from Mr. Christensen.
I'm sure that is true, and I just wanted to check quick.
Yep.
You know, 53% to 44%, so it wasn't
Not a
huge.
blowout.
No, it
Yep.
wasn't a blowout. Central District, obviously the upset Perry Freeman, who we talked with before, wins over incumbent Jane Odell. East District, another upset. Richard Dean, the Democrat, is defeated by Jack Hansen, the Progressive. That's wards 1 and 8, the East District.
Yep.
South District, Joan Shannon wins by quite a bit, and that's where wards 5 and 6. All the Burlington ballot items passed except the Downtown Improvement District.
Yeah.
That went down by quite a bit.
Yep.
So all the other items passed, taxes, etc.
Yeah. Well, discussion of the ballot items, including the mayor appointing the planning commissioner, as well as single-use plastics, which was championed by South District City Councilor Joan Shannon, were some of the issues that brought voters out to the polls, as we hear in this report from Aidan White and Jordan Mitchell.
I think that there's a good reason why in state law and why the city council gets to decide whether or not to put these questions on the ballot. I don't think we want to live in a direct democracy. We've chosen a representative democracy, and there are good reasons for that. One thing is the timing, that when you put something on the ballot, when it's gone through a whole lot of process and permitting, and you're halfway into a project, you can't come back and put the project on the ballot. It doesn't make sense. You have very limited information from a yes/no vote on a ballot referendum question, where oftentimes you need a more nuanced answer to, if you don't like that, what is it that you do like? What is it that you want the city to do? People often vote for their personal benefit rather than the fairness to the community. An example is in South Burlington, the Rebel name for the high school. Is that something that should be put on a ballot, or do we want to recognize that there are civil rights issues here, and there there's a concern for the entire community that may not play out in a public vote.
I'm sorry, we'll have to leave it there, and we'll ask Paco de Francis for a 60-second response on that question as to ballot advisory questions. Should they automatically go on the ballot, or do you like the process as it stands now?
I mean, I do think the process as it stands now, with having them to go through City Council, makes sense, because just yeah, I think the process is good, but I think we do need to hold our direct city councilors accountable, at the ballot box, if they are, if you disagree with, if they're not putting those, I think that the voters need to really look at that and say, is my city councilor not putting on these, these ballot items that should be going on, or is he or she not? And you take that to the take that to the ballot box itself.
Okay. Mohammed Jafar, your thoughts on the ballot questions. Should they automatically go on the ballot if they get 3,300 signatures?
My answer to that is yes, they absolutely should. And my reason for that is very simple. If I'm elected as a city councilor, I'm elected by the people, and I'm elected to represent the voices of the people. I don't get to go there like a parent and decide what the decision is. That's not my job as a city councilor. My job is to represent those that are, that are seeing me as their representative. So, in my opinion, I think it undermines the process of democracy in itself. Especially, that's why we have the item in itself, or that's why we have the process for the signatures, for the petitions, whatever it may be. So it is important to understand that if we are going to have, those processes, it shouldn't be a facade. They should be real. And if people get what they meet the prerequisite or the requirements, I think people should get those items automatically on the ballot. Otherwise, why have the process at all?
Candidates Jafar, de Francis, and Shannon in a Channel 17 candidate forum. An update here in our elections for Burlington. Candidate Shannon returns to the Burlington City Council, defeating her opponents, Mohammed Jafar and Paco de Francis. In the North District, we have Franklin Polino returning to the City Council as a Democrat, beating Keenan Christensen, taking the seat for Dave Hartnett. In the East District, Jack Shannon, an upset over Democrat Richard Dean. And in the Central District, we have Perry Freeman emerging victorious, beating Jane Nodell as well as Jared Carter. As we take a look at South Burlington, we understand we have complete results there, Diane.
We do. And we should also just say that all the Burlington ballot items passed except the Downtown Improvement District.
Right.
For South Burlington, it looks like the city budget passes. That's Article 2. And I don't know why I don't have Article 1. Okay. Article 3 is interesting. This is the charter change for the local option tax, and that goes down 56% to 44%.
That's a shock.
That is really surprising. Yeah, we got to find out more about that.
Yeah.
Article 4 is the car rental tax. That passes by quite a bit, 66%. The advisory question on raising the tobacco age passes 76%. School budget passes 56-44, so that was a little closer than some of the others. City Council, Tim Barrett wins the 3-year term over Frank Davis by a lot, by 82%. City Council, David Kaufman was running unopposed. Brian Minier is the school director, along with Martin Lalonde, who also is a House member of the House.
Wonderful.
That's South Burlington. And we should also just mention Winooski.
Sure.
That Christine Lott is the new mayor of Winooski. And Michael Myers wins over Corey Mack for the councilor for the remaining piece of a 2-year term. And all of the ballot items in Winooski pass.
Wonderful. Taking a look at Williston at this time, we have a return to the select board of Ted Kenny as Ted beats his challenger, Teresa Zitrich and McHugh Devitt. So Ted Kenny retains his 3-year seat. Gordon St. Hilaire is unopposed in the 2-year seat, and he has been elected overwhelmingly in Williston. Regarding the ballot initiatives in the city of Williston, all items have been approved except the charter change for the town clerk, which has failed. So all ballot items in Williston approved except for the town clerk charter change. And a reminder that Ted Kenny has beat his challenger, Teresa Zittrich, and Gordon St. Hilaire is elected to the 2-year term.
And we should just mention in the town of Williston that one item that went down only went down by 8 votes.
8 votes.
So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if they do recounts or
Well,
I
wonder
don't know,
if,
but that is kind of interesting, is only 8 votes for that one.
Well, last night the Williston town held its town meeting, and we find out more about that in this latest video clip.
So before I get into some of the numbers, I wanted to share a story with you. This is a picture of the old brick church. The year was 2007, the month June. Nice, warm, early summer afternoon. The people you see in front of the church there were attending a wedding. They're just coming out of the church. Shortly after this picture was taken, a strong thunderstorm rolled through the town of Williston, and lightning hit that steeple. And this was the result of that lightning. Now, the result could have been far worse. And I see a few people in the community, the group here, that may remember this, but I'm dating myself now, I admit that. But you may remember Paul Harvey, the radio newscaster. Well, anyway, this is my share, or my version of the rest of the story. So after this was hit by lightning, obviously, it caught fire. And it just happened that the first person that was, or one of the first persons that was driving by this building was our fire chief. He was on his way to a call. It was a mutual aid call, which means a call in another community. And so he noticed thank you for your observance, noticed that there was smoke. And he noticed that our ladder truck was actually, the ladder truck was stored in the armory because the new fire station was under construction at that point. And the ladder truck was starting to leave the armory because it was going to that mutual aid call. And the chief radioed in and said, hey guys, turn right instead of left. And they did, of course, and they were able to get water on that fire very quickly and quite likely save that building. So we were very thankful for that.
Well, as we turn our attention now to Essex, we see that Irene Renner is running again, long-term incumbent there. And it looks like the budget has passed for Essex. And it looks like it includes an additional $100,000, which are going to be devoted specifically to road repairs and to infrastructure repairs as well.
It's the time of year, I imagine, because I was from the floor at their vote last night, at their open voice vote last night. So that's kind of interesting to actually raise it. But a number of the people talked about the fact that the roads were in really rough shape, which we all know.
Right. And as a matter of fact, I mean, that seems to be an issue that are on a lot of ballots for municipalities. South Burlington with that 1.5% increase to the rental.
0.5%.
Yep. To the rental, car rentals in South Burlington. All that money specifically being allocated for road repairs. Well, time now to take a look at what transpired at the Essex Town Meeting in this latest video clip.
So I tonight want to send a message to our administration, and the beauty of a town meeting is we can get up and discuss these things and make a point. We can all write a letter or so, and whatever. So I'm going to make a motion that sounds like a lot, but I want to make a motion that we increase the budget by $100,000. And earmark it. I know they can spend it anywhere they want once we increase the budget. But I think they've always been good in the past about putting it into the item that I want, and I want to see some more resurfacing. With that extra $100,000, maybe we can do 10 roads, which will only take 3 years instead of 5 to get the most serious roads fixed. And my math comes up that that's like a 0.68% increase to the budget. So out of your pocket, it's going to cost you less than $28 to do this.
Wanted to ask what effect you believe that the possible addition of the proposed amount of funds could have this year. this coming year?
Any money that you put to preventative is a lot better spent than $110 or $130 to reconstruct. So the money which we are not advocating for, which is coming from the floor, is we would put it to the roads that need the most maintenance, that will do the best good to keep us from having to spend the heavy dollars reconstructing.
Our select board members and our town administrators have put a lot of thought into prioritizing and asking for our money for the projects that they think need to be done this year. I can think of a lot of things in our community that could benefit from an influx of $100,000. You know, if somebody said, what would you give $100,000 for? I might think of something to do with the opioid abuse crisis. I think there's a lot of things that we could throw money at if we just think of it tonight. So my inclination would be to go with the budget that was presented to us, but that's just my comment on this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else would like to speak to the amendment?
Just for reference, my wife and I are living on one income, well below the median income, and I detest taxes. However, we live on West Street, and major potholes have developed recently that every time any large vehicle drives by, the whole house shakes. And so I can absolutely see the value in preventative maintenance, just as I do preventative maintenance on my vehicle, so I don't have to pay $85 an hour at a shop. I also see the benefit in preventative maintenance for our roads. And doing some quick math with that extra $100,000 the gentleman has proposed, if the road required complete reconstruction, that $100,000 could only do 751 feet of roadway. If we prevented that at $19 a foot, that would do only 17 feet short of 1 mile of roadway. That's 5,263 feet. Personally, I would rather see that my car doesn't fall apart and I have to pay $85 an hour to do something that I cannot do myself because I didn't want to pay $20 extra in taxes to take care of this problem. Just my view.
Thank you very much. Results of the vote. Those in favor of the amendment were 138. Those against the amendment were 96. The amendment has passed. Everyone said their piece, so let's vote on it. So I'm going to restate the article as amended before we vote. Shall the town adopt a budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2019 to June 30, 2020 as recommended by the Select Board and amended in the amount of $14,830,649. So an aye is in favor of that budget and nay is against. All those in favor of Article 2 as amended signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Article 2 passes.
That was last night at the Essex Town Meeting. We are getting Essex results in at this moment. Quite an upset, Diane.
Yes. So Irene Renner, who is the 12-year incumbent, loses with two other folks who win. Annie Cooper and Patrick Murray both win for the 3-year term. An upset for Irene Renner.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, she's what, 12 years?
12 years, yeah. In fact, when we brought it in, we all said, really?
Yeah, quite
so,
a surprise.
and by, by a fair amount. I mean, we've got Irene Renner with almost 900 votes, Patrick Murray with almost 1,200, and Annie Cooper with a little over 1,000.
Wow.
So, yeah. So Annie Cooper and Patrick Murray will be the two Select Board members in Essex for the 3-year term.
Well, Select Board members as well as consolidation were just two issues that brought voters out to the polls in Essex, as we hear in this video report from reporter Barry Silver, producer Mike Kismet, and Channel 17 intern David Rush.
We are here in Essex, and where last night they voted to approve their FY20 budget. Actually, with an amendment, a voter stood up and proposed a $100,000 increase for road improvements. That was passed last night. So kind of an unusual situation, I would think, in Essex. But we're here this morning to talk with voters. There's We're at Essex High School. You can hear the sounds of the high school in the background. Voters are coming in to cast their votes for select board candidates, and there's a three-way race for 2 seats.
I believe in public participation, and this is my first time voting. I just turned 18. Nice. So I believe in coming out and supporting the system.
Excellent. So right now we're at 97 individuals have shown up, and it's 9:30 in the morning, so we've got lots of room for improvement.
You have to vote if you're given the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything in particular this election that you feel strongly about?
Well, you know, it's always important who you're electing to run the town, so I felt that was important.
Yeah.
I'm in support of the efforts to continue to bring the town and the village closer together. So that was top of mind for me today.
Great. Yeah.
Well, I work here, so it's kind of hard to walk by the gym and not
it is
for the last 20 years. But I don't know. I just kind of like to keep the streak going.
High school level where the town and Junction, our school systems are together along with Westford, so it's become sort of less of an issue for us is that as we sort of move out of the Parks and Rec system and we move into the high school system where it's already all merged, it's something that isn't as much in the dialogue of younger people, so it's something that we sort of are watching out for, but at the same time we're so close because we're in the same schools, the students from the town and the Junction, there's really no separation.
We don't have a lot to vote on today, but I went to town meeting last night and voted on the budget, which is always a
Yeah, I heard town meeting was pretty eventful.
Yeah. There have been more lively ones, but there was a good debate about fixing the roads, which are so bad this year. So.
Well, last night was truly representative of democracy. Okay, people actually expressed their opinions. They got $100 grand added to address needed road repairs.
Yeah. So I didn't vote early, and I just think it's important in the process. And I sort of have this old school adage that if you don't vote, you can't bitch. So I'm not a big bitcher, but I am a big voter. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
And we are back here at Studio A at Channel 17. A reminder, if you're heading out, you can join us online at ch17.tv and enjoy our online stream simulcasting on Burlington's low-power community radio station, 99.3 WBTZ. Diane, I understand we have some Colchester results.
We do have results from Colchester. So Colchester, the FY20 budget passes 67% to 33%. The Mallets Bay Sewer Project, this was a general obligation bond, hopefully to improve water quality in Mallets Bay, actually goes down 54%.
That is a shock. I mean, just the other day, there was a water main break on Lakeshore Drive, East Lakeshore Drive, so quite a surprise that this has gone down.
There were dueling scientists on this, from what I could tell, and there was just not an agreement for what it was going to cost, that they were going to get enough improvement in the Bay. So it's kind of interesting. I think this will come back, though. I think we'll hear more about this. Okay. School budget passes. Select Board, Jackie Murphy, 2-year term, Tom Mulcahy, 3-year term, Kurt Taylor for School Board, and Craig Kiani for School Board, also 3-year term.
Wonderful. We're going to do a quick recap here now of Burlington results and taking a look at City Council. Yes. Looks like 2 new members are heading to the Burlington City Council. Absolutely. We've got in the North District, Franklin Paulino, the Democrat. A Democrat will return, but he is a new Democrat, I guess one should say. North District, that's Ward 4 and 7. Central District, Perry Freeman. The Progressive wins over incumbent Jane Nodell, that's Wards 2 and 3. The East District, Jack Hansen, the Progressive, wins over Richard Dean, a Democrat, incumbent, Wards 1 and 8. And in the South District, Joan Shannon wins by really, I would say, a landslide in Wards 5 and 6, the South District. All the ballot items in Burlington pass except the Downtown Improvement District. Yeah, number 4 goes down. Which is a bit of a surprise. Yeah. We also have results from South Burlington at this time as well, don't we? We do have results from South Burlington. Actually, let's go. Okay, you got South Burlington right there. Okay, let's go to South Burlington. Sorry. We've got, we're getting a little punchy at the end of the evening. We have the city budget passing. We have, interestingly, the local option tax going down. I was surprised about that. That was for capital improvements.
And we just talked about how the roads need to be fixed. So
and
there
yet
you
the car rental tax does
pass, which is both for highway infrastructure and emergency services. That does pass. Advisory question on raising the age of tobacco products from 18 to 21. The sale thereof passes overwhelmingly. The school budget passes. Tim Barrett wins for the 3-year term in the City Council. Dave Kaufman for this 2-year term for City Council. Brian Minier and Martin Lalonde both go back to the school board.
As we take a look at Winooski, it looks like the Onion City has a new mayor.
Absolutely. Christine Lott is the new mayor of the Onion City. We heard from her before. City councilors will be James Duncan, Amy Lafayette, and Michael Myers, who wins over Corey Mack. And all the items, all the ballot items in Winooski pass.
Also in Essex, we know that the town budget did pass. It included a $100,000 increase that would be for road repairs.
More road repairs.
Throughout Essex also, there's an upset there as well.
Yes, Irene Renner, 12-year incumbent on the select board, goes down. Annie Cooper and Patrick Murray will be the 2 select board members the 3-year term. Again, Irene Renner will not return to the select board.
Right. Taking a look at Williston, what we know at this time is that Ted Kenny returns to the select board, defeating challenger Teresa Zitrich, who gave up her 2-year term to challenge Ted Kenny. Gordon St. Hilaire, unchallenged, wins the 2-year term in Williston. All ballot items in the village are approved except the charter change for the town clerk in Williston, which has failed. And moving on to Colchester, we have some ballot results there as well, as we had said.
We do. Colchester, we have the budget passes, the sewer project bond goes down, the school budget also passes, and we have Jack Murphy for the 2-year term on the select board, Tom Mulcahy for the 3-year term, and select board, and school board 2-year term, Kurt Taylor, and 3-year term, Craig Kiani.
Wonderful. Well, time now for another Exit Voices pieces as we head to the South District in Burlington, where voters were out in force, as we hear from producer Barry Silver and Channel 17 intern David Rush.
What brought you out here today?
Voting, of course.
So what brought you out here this morning?
Voting at the library. It's a good walk, so why not?
Well, I'm a student at the university, and I thought that it's like really important. I think it's like really great that we have the opportunity to vote in Burlington, because we only live here for 4 years, but still, that is 4 years. We have like an impact on like what happens within the city.
So what brought you out here this morning?
I've never voted in Vermont, or like, I'm a freshman in UVM, so I've never voted here, so, or like in general, like at a polling station, so I'm really excited.
Well, it's more of the process, I think. You know, there's some candidates that I support, so I'm here to support them and some ballot initiatives.
So what brought you out here today?
Just the voting, and with the ballot items like the, what do they call it, the DID thing, you know, with taking over the area, and just doing my duty as a citizen.
I want to support my local councilor, Richard Dean, and I'm supportive of a number of the ballot initiatives.
Is there anything specific on the ballot that you were really looking forward to?
Yes, I'm looking really forward to voting no on 4, which is privatizing the downtown. It was a rushed process that really didn't consider residents, like regular residents and workers' needs, so I'll be here voting against it.
I really hope we vote yes on 4, because I think that downtown deserves more expansion of its services, and I think that'll be a good thing, because Burlington deserves it.
Well, I mean, I am totally in support of number 6. I think that it's time that we address plastic pollution. Obviously, there are other important things that we voted on today, but that's, in my mind, one of the number 1 issues. We're in a state right now where, like, plastic is literally everywhere. So if we can take a very small step here in Burlington, other places in Vermont have done this too. I think that this is a really great small step to address, let's say, plastics in the entire state.
What do you think about the Downtown Improvement District?
I have worked on the Church Street Marketplace for many years, and it definitely needs an uplift right now, especially with online shopping. It's a beautiful area. It's got so much to offer to our citizens and to our neighbors to the north and west. So I think to everyone, it's just beautiful. We need to do it and keep it revitalized.
I think it's really, really important that young folks are involved, that we're focusing on affordability, and that we're really addressing climate change. Something else I'm passionate about is just really, really important to me is public engagement, and just making sure that, when we make decisions in the city, the community's involved, and it's not just made by a few at the top. So that's why I'm voting today, and I really hope that folks get out to vote and vote for Jack Hansen in East District.
Is there anything on the ballot specifically that either excites you or maybe you're hoping to see change?
Definitely number 4, about like the downtown improvement district. I think it is not a good idea. The city is already kind of preferencing businesses over people and like the city's needs.
School, and I don't like some of the town plans, so mainly environmental planning, but I would vote anyway, just more engaged this year than some other years.
Definitely changing more to renewable energy is a big thing that I'm really excited to kind of be a part of. So,
just like I said, I really don't care for the business bureau, downtown bureau expanding, and taking over more areas. I don't know. I've been around Burlington a lot, and it seems like there's more to Burlington than Church Street. Burlington as a community, I've been here a long time when cars traveled on Church Street, and it wasn't a marketplace, but that's about it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
We couldn't put these election results together without an incredible team of people, including, of course, our talent in Studio A, Diane Meyerhoff and Matt Kelly, and the amazing crew that's here today, the folks that went out earlier in the morning with exit voices to all the polling places, and of course those wonderful results reporters without whom we would not have wrapped up results here by 8:30. In November we are still waiting for results. It's a much slower, much different time. But we have fantastic folks calling us from Burlington and Winooski, and of course the clerks in the communities of South Burlington, as well as our poll reporters there, Essex and Williston and Colchester, and we're just very grateful for all the work that has gone into making Town Meeting 2019 the best ever. Back to you with a wrap-up of results, Diane and Matt Kelly.
Thank you very much, Lauren Glenn. An exciting night. A lot of challengers have been defeated. I think it's safe to say that voters were looking for a change, Diane.
Apparently they were, because we've got upsets in Burlington and Essex, and well, that's probably the main one. But
Sure.
some of these ballot items, too, were kind of a surprise as well.
Let's do a quick recap here of Burlington as we take a look at the city council races. In the North District, we have Keenan Christensen going down to defeat against Franklin Paulino. Democrat returns to the city council for the North District. Diane?
The North District is Ward 4 and 7. The Central District, that's Wards 2 and 3. Perry Freeman, progressive, wins over incumbent Jane Nodell, one of the upsets.
It really was Jane's race to win or lose.
East District, we have, that's Wards 1 and 8. We have Jack Hansen, another progressive, winning over the incumbent Richard Dean, a Democrat. And finally, in the South District, Joan Shannon, that's Wards 5 and 6. Joan Shannon, the Democrat, will go back. So Joan is one of the few that remained.
Some young voices coming to the Burlington City Council with Franklin Paulino, as well as Perry Freeman and Jack Hansen in the East District.
Yes, absolutely. And we should say that all the ballot items in Burlington passed, except, oddly perhaps, the Downtown Improvement District did go down. I want to just mention Colchester results too, since those are in now. We have the school budget passes. The select board, Jackie Murphy goes back, Tom Mulcahy for the 3-year term, Kurt Taylor for the 2-year term, and school board, Craig Canny goes in for the 3-year term. The budget passes, and the Mallets Bay Sewer Project, that's a general obligation bond, actually is defeated.
Wonderful. Taking a look at Winooski, the Onion City has a new mayor, Christine Lott, taking over for Seth Leonard.
Yes, who retired. So Christine Lott is the new mayor of Winooski. We have councilors James Duncan and Amy Lafayette, and Michael Myers wins over Corey Mack. And all the ballot items in Winooski pass.
Taking a look now at South Burlington, we have some mixed results for that city as well.
We do. South Burlington, the city budget passes. Interestingly, the local option tax for municipal capital improvements goes down by 56%. I think somewhat unexpected.
Yeah.
At least for me, anyhow. Charter change, but interestingly, short-term car rental fee of 0.5% passes. That's going to go for highway infrastructure and for emergency services. The advisory ballot on raising the age for tobacco purchase from 18 to 21 passes by quite a bit. School budget passes. Tim Barrett wins for the City Council for the 3-year term. David Kaufman for the 2-year term City Council. And Brian Minier, school director, 3-year term, and Martin Lalonde for the 2-year term school director.
And in Essex, we have an upset. Irene Renner, long-term select person, going down to defeat.
She did. 12 years on the select board. Irene Renner goes down. Annie Cooper and Patrick Murray will be the new 3-year term select board members in Essex.
And taking a look at Williston, it looks like incumbent Ted Kenny retains his 3-year seat, beating challenger Terry Zitrich, who gave up her 2-year seat to challenge Ted. Gordon St. Hilaire was unchallenged for that 2-year seat and is elected overwhelmingly. All budget items and charter changes for the village of Williston, town of Williston, have been approved, except for Article 9, the charter change for the town clerk. That has failed.
By 8 votes.
8 votes. So we'll see if there will be maybe a recount or something in the town of Williston over that charter change question.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, it's been an exciting night for all of us here at Channel 17 Town Meeting Television. We want to thank you so much for joining us, and for everyone enjoying our simulcast at 99.3 WBTV. We thank you so much for listening in. For all of us here at Channel 17 Town Meeting Television, on behalf of Lauren Glenn Davidian, Executive Director, Megan O'Rourke, our Executive Producer, Kevin Harms, our Master Control Operator, for Barry Silver, in charge of our social media, and Kim Vilmer, our floor manager, we would like to say thank you. For Diane Meyerhoff, I'm Matt Kelly. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.